Welcome to the Patriot Service Dogs 15th year anniversary gathering. Thank you, Scott, for sharing your a little bit short story. Please let me introduce Air Force veteran Scott Wiggins. Scott, I'm sure as your role as a Brigadier General, you learned a lot about leadership, and you continue to lead now by being open and sharing your story. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Julie, thank you. Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure and an honor to be here. Someone that needs absolutely no introduction but needs a ton of recognition is the President of Patriot Service Dogs, Julie Sanderson. Thank you.
So 15 years ago, Patriot Service Dogs began with a big idea over a small kitchen table. I had a big dream for our mission, but I never could have imagined us all gathering here together to celebrate tonight. Tonight, in a packed theater filled with supporters, recipients, and community members, we will join together and place our 71st Service Dog team. We will also take a moment to look back on the journey that got us here. In 2009, the mission of Patriot Service Dogs was, as it is today, to train quality service dogs for veterans free of charge. Why should a veteran who has already sacrificed so much then be asked to pay tens of thousands of dollars for a potentially life-saving tool like a service dog? With one donated dog and $1,000 in the bank, the journey began. Our first few dogs were placed with the help of volunteer puppy raisers, and in order to grow, we had to think bigger. We needed a dedicated group of dog trainers willing to help. As an all-volunteer organization, we had years of service dog training experience and a dedication to our mission. What we didn't have were deep pockets or master fundraisers on our team. Somehow, I found myself standing across the room from women in blue who had nothing but time to offer. And so it is that the prison training program began.
When I did get out, I had issues. A lot of the military do. In this day and age, honestly, we have more veterans committing suicide than we do dying in combat. And maybe I wasn't to that extreme yet, but my family regularly told me I was becoming more and more difficult to live with.
I wanted to make sure that the inmates who are currently training dogs at Lowell had a chance to be a part of this. And so I asked some of them to just write something that they were comfortable with me sharing. And so this is one of those letters. Everyone look around, and if you have gone into prison to visit the women of Wolf, please raise your hand. Now keep them up if it was a very positive and surprisingly happy experience. Thank you, guys. I'm writing this from prison, so I obviously can't see your hands, but I'm willing to bet that most hands stayed up. We have been given a safe and unique space to prove to ourselves that we are truly worthy of something. When you visit us and you interact with us, you're validating the fact that we can shake the stigma that we carry due to the decisions and the mistakes that we've made. Wolf is a second chance to love ourselves and to participate in life by giving. It's important for me that you know that those of you who are here tonight, by being present, are part of this community. You are supporting men and women who have sacrificed in service, but you are also uplifting a group of women who stumbled in life. Thank you all for that. From my heart, thank you, Alicia.
I can tell by your eyes already that Patriot Service Dogs has many compelling stories, and it's my pleasure to introduce Jules Stowell, who's going to tell you one that is very close to her heart. Please welcome Jules.
First First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for coming. I would like to thank all the veterans for their service and all parties involved in making this possible. I'd like to give a special thank you to Miss Julie for making us Ladies of the Wolf program do a book report presentation every 8 weeks. If it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have the courage or the confidence to be standing here before you today. My name is Julianne Stowell, and I was incarcerated for 6 years at Lowell Correctional Institute here in Ocala. For over 2 of those 6 years, I was a part of the WOOF program. Upon being sentenced and entering prison, I experienced 2 major fears. 1, losing connection with the outside world, as in my family and friends, and 2, losing myself. Both came true over the course of my incarceration. Being sentenced to prison and grasping the reality of it is a challenging thing for any individual. It was especially difficult for me coming from a large, close family who did nothing but love, support, and provide a good life for me. When one is sentenced to prison, everything is stripped from them. Your own name, for instance. I was no longer Julie Ann. I was inmate E53130. Not only is one's identity and purpose gone, but they are beaten down and degraded as a human being. My hope was to somehow find a purpose amongst those dark walls, and I soon came to learn about the dog program. My sights were set solely on that. After a few months, I was finally given the opportunity to be a part of the amazing WOOF program. During my course in the program, I learned a multitude of skills and advanced my way up from working with rescue dogs to Patriot Service Dogs. The WOOF program became my light amongst a very dark place. Not only was I now training dogs, but training myself into becoming a stable, thriving, healthy human being. I now had a purpose and was experiencing unconditional love. Every person goes through trauma in their life or experiences pain in one form or another. I've never been in the military, but often think about the two being similar in ways. How you are broken down as an individual and molded into a new being. The separation from society and the world as you once knew it. The after effects and trauma those individuals endure are insurmountable to anything else I can now understand why there is such a great need for programs such as Patriot Service Dogs. I know how the program and the dogs fulfilled and enriched my life, so I can only imagine what they do for our veterans. It was truly an honor being a part of such an amazing program. It changed my life for the better and not only helped me find myself again, but love and build myself into the person I am today. So thank you for not only blessing my life, but all the others out there as well that have the pleasure of being a part of the Patriot Service Dog program.
As WOOF became more and more an integral part of the whole Patriot Service Dog training program, I realized we had a unique opportunity to support female veterans. While many veteran organizations are male-dominated, our dogs were predominantly raised by women, so it was easy for us to create a comfortable learning environment for new women veteran teams. Please welcome one of those teams, Karen Milberg Escobar and her service dog, Millie.
Hello, I'm Karen, and I'm going to try to get through this because I'm really nervous. Okay. My journey with Patriot Service Dogs actually began with another wonderful program, the Warrior Wellness Program. There I had the honor of meeting a very special service dog named Jack and his service person, Chris. And they're the ones that got me involved and recommended me, hey, you're not doing very good. You're not setting a good example. Okay. So through them, I became connected with Patriot Service Dogs, and I will forever be grateful for that. Jack is not here with us anymore, but I will always carry him in my heart because he actually didn't just provide service to Chris. he provided a service to me, and I believe to a lot of the other people who went through that program, whether it be allowing me to cry on him after tough sessions, or just to cuddle him, and just to be there. And I think Chris saw that that was an opportunity to say, you know, have you ever thought about having a service dog? And I was very ignorant when it came to service dogs, because I just assumed they were for veterans who had obvious disabilities, and I just thought, I dismissed it a little bit, like, oh no, I'm good. I don't want to take away a service dog from someone who really needs it. And so he got me in touch with Julie. And I have to say that at first Julie intimidated me a bit. She was very strict. Every time my husband Paul would try to say something, she would be like, but I want to hear her say it. You know, very good. When I met them, I was a very different person than I am today. I, like many other women veterans, hid behind a facade of, you know, I'm okay. I have to be strong for my family. I have to get my daughter to school. I have, you know, just everything in life, and I'm okay. I'll be fine. But just like in one of the videos, those things that you try to put away and to pretend like they're not there, they start kind of coming out in little cracks here and there, and your family starts noticing, and then you start noticing, and I started feeling embarrassed, and I hated the word disability. I hated it, and it took me a long time to finally realize that, hey, you know what, it's okay, maybe you do need some help. I went through the Warrior Wellness Program. I met Julie, and there began the test driving of dogs. One such dog was a Rottweiler named Dolly, who for obvious reasons didn't work out. I think she weighed more than I did. But the PSD family, they welcomed me with open arms. And it was without judgment. They made me realize that I mattered, and that if I only gave them a chance, that they were going to teach me and help me, you know, have a better life. These strong, independent women who I admire, they took my very broken self and led me to the next phase of my life. Along came Millie after all the test drives, and I don't know how they knew, but they knew that this was going to be the best match. I have to say that since the very first day I met Millie, I felt something in that connection. I knew my life was going to be different. I was so scared because I was like, what the heck am I going to do with this dog? I knew it was going to completely change my life. One of the best days that I had was when I went through the Wolf program. I met those wonderful women there. They have such a big heart. They have so much to offer. They couldn't have been any nicer. They couldn't have been more respectful. And I felt a connection to them. And I know the circumstances are different, but but in a way, our lives were similar in that somewhere along the line, we lost who we were. We needed help finding our way back. And as I toured the facilities, what struck me was I was going down the halls and I saw the boards with historical figures and math and English and scrapbook stuff. And, you know, I was just taken aback by the fact that Patriot Service Dogs isn't just a program that helps veterans with service dogs. They care about each and every person that pours themselves into these animals. They care about these women and give them tools that they could use in the future. I realized that this powerful woman-led organization did so much more than providing dogs for veterans. They were giving back to these women, and they lifted these women, and they cared about them just as much as they cared about us. Today, I stand before you a mother to my daughter Ruby, who instead of Ruby comforting me when we're out in public, Millie and I comfort her, and she's able to be the kind of little girl that she's meant to be. And I stand before you a better wife for my husband. And instead of him being my service husband, I'm able to just be his partner and his wife. I'm just so very proud to be a part of this family who supports women veterans. They gave us a voice. They show us that we matter, and despite what we have been through, we aren't broken. We just need a PSD service dog by our side to carry some of the weight of life's difficulties and provide us with unconditional love. Patriot Service Dogs, there aren't enough words to describe how much you mean to me and my family. I stand before you a strong, confident, and proud veteran, all because of your hard work, your love, and your dedication. When Millie and I walk out of the front door each day, we're not alone. We walk with all of those people who gave us so much of themselves just to be able to help me and women like me. Your legacy will live on forever, and all the veterans and all the service dogs that you've trained, I carry you in my heart forever. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karen. You're up for a special surprise next.
Wake up. Well, she changes outfits every day.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, are you aware your dog is dragging a receipt?
She is priceless, but it doesn't mean there isn't a cost for her.
Okay, maybe we could look into that a little
Sure,
bit?
my
Okay.
pleasure. You're not petting her.
No,
are you?
no, sir,
Okay,
I'm
okay.
getting this off. No,
Thank
sir.
you. Yes.
No, sir, I am not. Thank you, Bear, I appreciate that. No, sir, I am not. This is huge. This, wow, okay. So a lot went into this.
Yes,
More than just training.
yes.
Okay, so a lot of time and effort, and $500 in poop bags? Are
Yeah.
you sure?
We are really regular. I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. All right, that's important to be prepared.
Yes.
$3,000 in dog food?
While, I mean, she is lean, but she does require fuel for that engine. So,
Nice,
yes.
nice, okay. And over $2,500 in vet care, do you think, is that what it takes?
That surprises me, honestly, that it's that low.
Okay.
Because again,
Okay.
service dog, and we've got to make sure that she's outstanding in her physical capacity.
She looks to be, and she sees that she's on film, and she's really loving it.
Absolutely, that's right.
She's digging it, for sure. Thank you. So as Bear has helped us learn, a service dog costs on average $20,000. If you do the math, our 71 teams have a value of nearly $1.5 million. In this room tonight, the total would be $500,000. We pride ourselves on not passing along the cost of that to the veterans. The dogs are always free to the veterans. So we come up with that money. And our goal tonight is to come up to raise $15,000. And we're well on our way, but still need your help. On the screen is on the screen is a QR code if you want to donate that way. And I hope by the end of tonight, I can report to you that we have met our goal. We cannot continue this work without you. Please help veterans in need by supporting PSD. Ooh, said from the boss. Okay. We're getting set up for the next. Hold on.
You might take for granted the health of your pet, but for Patriot Service Dogs, the wellness of the service dog is actually absolutely critical to mission success. Here to tell you a little bit about that, please give up great applause for Phil and Norman.
Well, I'm Phil. Okay, this is Norman, my service dog, and once again, I'm Phil Mansky. And I want to thank all the veterans today for being here and for your service. I'd like to first start out by saying, service dogs don't shed. Did I say something funny? Okay, what they do, they emit magical strands of love and joy. Ain't that right, bud? Huh? And they stand up here and look down here and see all these dogs and all these people. It's just an awesome sight. Even Chris got your attention. I'm here to say a few words about Shamrock Animal Hospital. They partnered with PSD in 2019, and Dr. Fagan and her husband, Jeff, awesome people, just an awesome thing. I believe she's an Ocala resident in the past, and she graduated from Florida, and she's a Gator. How about that, huh? You got it. I thought more people were going to do it, actually. So that's an awesome thing when they partnered together. It really made everybody feel so great when she came aboard with us. What else do we have here? When you walk in their door to the clinic, you actually feel like you're family. You just get this awesome feeling. Norman, when he goes there, what are you hiding for, bud? When he goes there, you know, most dogs you have to jerk the chain and pull him. Not Norman. He practically runs in the door. Don't you, buddy? Who do you see? And she also participates in a WILL program, keeping all the dogs in health. And she answers all the questions to make sure that the inmates know what's going on. And they also perform the best and very best veterinary care possible for all the dogs that come through there. I myself, like a lot of veterans, I drive an hour and 45 minutes one way to go to the clinic. What are you going to do now? Come on, make your mind up. No, that's not your better side. What can I say? So let's give Dr. Fagan and Jeff a big applause, and I'd like them to stand, please. And we also wish them a continued success in their business. I understand it's growing. You're building, right? How many more square feet are you putting on? 3,000. Well, I can move in up there then, can't I? Okay. Thank you very much.
One of the duties of every military member is to train and mentor your successor. Very similar in Patriot Service Dogs, there's kind of a next dog up mentality. And to tell you a little bit more about that, please welcome Dave and Cutter.
Trust me, this isn't a comedy show. Lay down. This is the first time I felt comfortable in the theater in a long time. Usually, well, years ago, I wouldn't go into a theater or to a shopping center or anything like that. To begin with, I want to thank Julie. A special shout out to the Wolf Girls, the breeders, the puppy trainers, and all those that work voluntarily endless hours honing the skills and the temperament of these dogs. I apologize for the notes, but I tend to wander sometimes, so I have to follow the notes. In 1969, the height of the Vietnam War, I wanted to be an airborne infantry soldier. I wasn't like all the rest of my friends. I completed training and was assigned to the 101st Airborne Division. I was now 19, I was going to Vietnam. I was confident and proud to serve. A few months later, there were bullets with my name on it. I'll spare you the details that night. And I apologize if my voice wavers here a little bit, but just bear with me. We'll get through it. I was medevaced out at first light. My injuries were serious, but not immediately life-threatening. And in the morning, as the helicopter lifted me off the battlefield, I cried not from pain of wounds, but from the sense of abandonment to my squad. I felt suddenly alone, and I desperately wanted to go back and fight, but it was not to be. And in 1973, I was honorably discharged. Stay here with me if you would. I came back home to a world I didn't understand. My beloved country was in turmoil. My friends were burning their draft cards, defacing the American flag. It wasn't the way I was raised, but I was seen as a war hawk, a warmonger. I was treated as a criminal, not as a patriot. I didn't understand America anymore. So like many veterans, I became reclusive. I built a wall that you can't see, but it was there for me. A very real wall. I trusted no one. I was a piece of a puzzle of life that had changed shape and I no longer fit in. I trusted no one and I had no circle of friends. Time passed and now there was another storm on the horizon, 17 years later. And I'll tell you, during those 17 years, I never contacted the VA. I had no idea what PTSD was. I figured it was just part of my life, what I did. And I tried to bury it behind me. But this new storm was about to change my life. In 1990, Desert Storm was underway, and for reasons I can't explain, the effects, thoughts, and dreams of Vietnam came roaring back to me with a vengeance. The jungle was pulling me back to places and times and experiences I thought I had buried 19 years earlier. People around me made subtle hints that maybe I should see a doctor. But you're a combat veteran, I didn't know anything about the VA. You go to the doctor, what do you tell him? You know, he doesn't understand what's going on in your head, where you've been, what you've done. He hasn't walked in my shoes. He's just going to say I'm nuts. And as a Vietnam veteran, I've seen asking for help as a sign of weakness. Most warriors do. They won't reach out. They won't say I'm weak. They won't say I need help. I couldn't bring myself to do that. But I met another guy who had been to Vietnam, shot down 3 times. We talked for a while and he told me about a program the VA had. So reluctantly I called and I went to the VA. It was a long road, but in hindsight it saved me from myself. The VA was very thorough in their testing, and after evaluations and confirming my status of severe regressive PSD, this is kind of how it went. First, they put me in group counseling. That's not working. Then I went to individual counseling with a mental health specialist. Then there were psychiatrists, psychologist, and even a pharmacist on the board. Multiple lab tests, CTs, MRIs, and of course screening for Agent Orange. I knew none of this was helping. It was really making me worse. And then the comment was made, maybe you need inpatient therapy. And all I could see was myself being strapped down with leather straps, IVs running through my veins with drugs to keep me from hurting myself or others. So I cut all ties with the VA. I walked out. A little while later, weeks later, the pharmacist called me back and said, come back in, I just want to talk to you for a second. Make it a quick appointment. I went in and talked to him. A woman entered the room, sat down across from me, and slid a card over to me. That card was red, white, and blue. And it said Patriot Service Dogs. And she said, this is the last thing I can offer you. On that card was the name of Julie Sanderson, founder of Patriot Service Dogs. The trainer in Jacksonville at that time's name was Susan. She invited me to attend a training session of current dogs and their puppy raisers. I got a real sense of relaxation that I hadn't felt in a long time. I felt comfortable around the dogs. I attended every class for the next 8 weeks, and I filled out my own application and submitted it, and I was approved. I continued to attend every class, although I didn't have a dog, but the trainers were more than great with me and allowing me to be a part of their training team and learning as much as I could about Patriot Service Dogs. And at long last, I had something positive to look forward to. Because for many years, I had nothing positive to look forward to. I don't know how I'm here. I really don't. The dogs we were training were already promised to other veterans, or other people, I should say. And they told me it'd be 6, 8, possibly 12 months before we get a new crop in. But you're on the list. It gave me something to look forward to. I didn't have anything to look forward to until then. Just a few weeks later, the trainer asked me to stop by her house and see her. And she always had dogs around the house. There was always transition her name was Susan, at her house. And it was always a fun place for me to go. Susan had 3 dogs there that day, and one of them was Gunner. Up there on your right side is Gunner. I'm sorry. Not knowing at the time, but Susan was probably evaluating me for a dog, and Gunner was in their sights, although I had no idea to suspect that. The next week, I showed up at class. Susan showed up with Gunner, a gentle lead, and a leash, and told me to join in with the puppy trainers. And so for the next few months, I worked with Gunner. Yeah, he probably needs to pee. We both do. Unbeknownst to me, I think Susan and Julie were talking about awarding Gunner to me, although I had no idea. I didn't know anything about Gunner at all. But Gunnar was in transition. Things hadn't worked out for him and his handler. He'd been turned back into Patriot Service Dogs. Gunnar was in transition, and I was in transition, and a blessing came to both of us. Because of this right here. Gunnar and I had found each other, and we attended the next graduation as a team. God, I haven't cried this much since I got divorced. Second time. Everything I own is gone. The bonding of a service dog is like no other experience. It's not immediate. It happens over time. You and your dog adjust to each other and develop an unspoken form of communication. Gunnar and I were inseparable for 8 years. Now as I fight back the tears, my voice may waver a little bit. His time of service was ending. One day we came home from outside and Gunnar laid down on the cool tile of the kitchen floor that he liked to do. I offered him some cold watermelon. I can wait. I offered him some cold watermelon, and he didn't respond like he always did. So I nudged him a little bit. I figured he didn't hear me, but he didn't respond at all. I checked him real quick. He had a pulse. He was breathing. So we took off to the emergency room, and there it was discovered that he had cardiomyopathy. An endocardiomyopathy or something, I don't know, something to do with his heart. He wasn't doing well. And there was no battle Gunnar and I could fight together to save him. About 8 weeks after that, we made our last vet call. And as I called Julie and cried on the phone with her, more me than her, but we both cried. She said, Dave, all I remember her saying is, Dave, take your time and give me a call when you're ready. And I knew what that meant. But I knew it'd be a long time before I'm ready. God, I love that dog. And then one day she called me and said her and Russ would be up in my neck of the woods, and they had somebody that they'd like me to meet. And it's Mr. Peel out over there. That was Cutter. I did not know that when you lose a service dog, you're put at the top of the list. And it had only been about 12 weeks since Gunnar had died, and I didn't feel I was ready. And she said, take your time, we'll hold on to him, call me when you're ready. I talked to Gunnar about it. And he said, take Cutter, and I'll help you. You need him and he needs you. And that's exactly what I did, and was the second best move I ever made. So you're talking to a combat veteran who once was a tough guy, but not anymore. The world has changed for me. I don't care about the rest of the world now. I have Cutter and Gunnar. And Gunnar and I are a team, and we're guided by the spirit of Cutter the rest of our lives. And I thank you for your time. Please support Patriot Service Dogs. It kept me alive. It literally has. Thank you.
From the beginning, it was really important for us to be a member of Assistance Dogs International, which is commonly known as ADI. It's the global authority of assistance dogs of all kinds. Being a member shows that we adhere to the highest standards in training and placement. It also requires us to meet face-to-face with our veteran teams and complete rigorous paperwork and follow each dog. In 2022, we finally achieved this goal, becoming one of only 150 member organizations worldwide. We are one of the smallest, and it has been a huge undertaking for our small team to keep up with the membership requirements, but we do it. Why do we do it, you ask? We do it because it's important to our veterans. Not only does ADI membership give the veterans the security of knowing their dog is backed by a vetted organization, but it can also become a pathway to financial assistance. The VA will only provide this financial support to veterans who've received a dog from an ADI group. So this vest. Many people have been led to believe that this is what makes a dog into a service dog. But a service dog isn't made when it puts on a vest. A service dog is made over the thousands of hours of training, the many medical tests completed, and the years of dedication for our inmate trainers and volunteers alike. Patriot Service Dogs is looking for a very specific trait in a dog when we consider it as a placement. And it might surprise you to learn that, like most ADI members, at least 40% of our dogs who begin training do not make it because of one reason or another. They can be released for medical reasons, they're not confident enough to be a working dog, and some are destined for another path. PSD cares about each dog as an individual. We know each of their personalities, their strengths, and their weaknesses, although sometimes I mess up their names. I want them to shine in a way they were meant to, and I'm just as proud of our wonderful dogs who now have different jobs as I am of our service dogs who place with veterans. Please help us welcome one such career change dog, Elvis, and his handler, Joe Coleman, with the Pasco County Fire Department. Is he behind me? Oh. You guys must admit this is a pretty good fit.
First off, thank you, Julie, and thank you, Victoria, for coming to get me, and now I have to follow what we just witnessed. Extremely tough. Dave, I appreciate you and your story. That was absolutely amazing. I want to give thanks to all the veterans in the room, first off, so if we could give them an applause. I myself have never served, the first thing that I chose to do for my career was become a firefighter and a first responder. And as Julie said, we have a career change dog here in Elvis. Yeah, he's gonna hunt her down for a couple minutes now. He's kind of obsessed. So anyway, my role as mental health officer with Pasco County Fire Rescue is to assist our members who may be suffering from PTSD, depression, anxiety, substance abuse, marital issues. Long-term careers in the fire service often come with many, many traumatic events, traumatic calls. We're just normal people that see abnormal events on a daily basis. So my department has created a role for me, which I'm extremely grateful that I can help assist with mental health and the mental well-being of our members, and not only ensure that they come to work and they have a safe and healthy career, but also an even longer, healthier retirement. So through that program, unfortunately, whoa, settle down. You guys see the catch though? I caught it. So that is something that he did learn, was how to jump up and grab things off of counters. So anyway, Elvis's story is fantastic. A year ago, actually last May, I was approached by an acquaintance of ours through the fire college that found out that I do what I do for our department and through mental health, and they advised me that they knew Patriot Service Dogs was currently training a Dalmatian, go figure, and they felt that his demeanor might be best suited for assisting multiple members of the organization for a shortened career span of 3 to 5 years. Unfortunately for Elvis, he couldn't complete the full service animal training and be designated to a veteran because of a scan that found a possible hip injury as he gets older. So he was kind of transitioned into something else, and they were just finding a suitable home for him. Fortunately for us at Pasco County Fire Rescue and myself and my family, Elvis was turned down by other fire rescue departments, so that worked out well for me. But she invited me up to the Wolf program, where I trained with Elvis for a few days, just to see if we could even bond together. So as I went up there to the facility, the first thing that I got to do was meet the trainers. And you guys have already spoken about it today, how amazing these individual ladies are and the compassion and care that they put into this program. It's absolutely astounding how they're willing to change their lives for their future and to help the veterans and myself and our department. The first thing that we did was explain to them that Elvis may be transitioning to a role of helping many, many firefighters throughout a career. When they realized this, I looked around the room and all I could see was tears of joy, because they had unfortunately known what I didn't know yet was, like I said, he couldn't serve as a primary veteran service animal. And they felt that his demeanor and his compassion for everybody that comes through the door would suit the department very well. So they were excited, and I was excited. I had not yet even seen Elvis. So when they brought him into the room, his trainer, his handler, brought him in front of me and said, "Make a friend." And she goes, "If he licks you, he likes you." At home, though, he's a devil in disguise. Don't let him fool you. Because when Elvis is undressed and off duty, he's well aware of that fact. And he's a 2-year-old puppy. So you guys all know what I mean. And but he's just so jovial and so happy and always willing to provide kisses and care and love for everybody that he comes in contact with. Like I said before, I can't thank Patriot Service Dogs enough. We're hoping to expand our program, and I've already told Julie this, so hopefully as we grow as a department and they realize how important animals like Elvis are, we can start this process throughout our department. Over the nation, they've actually started incorporating more canines into their units, so hopefully we can expand on that. But I just want to say thank you. I want to thank Julie for allowing me to speak and tell our story, and yeah, thank you.
It's so funny because to us, it's always such a conundrum when, you know, we love the dogs, but they're just not perfect for service dogs. And so it is such a blessing when we find the perfect fit for them. We've got, it changed, but there was Elvis, and not only did you see Tank, but you can hear Tank through this whole thing. And what a perfect fit. It is fantastic for us when they go on to do something wonderful. So a career change, but not a failure at all. Every so often, an unbelievable opportunity shows itself. And for us, that was the Defender Service Award. It came to our attention only days before the deadline to submit, and it was clearly out of our league, a true 1 in a million shot. Enough of our volunteers agreed to meet at the last minute in the summer heat at Miss Jerry's church to film our entry video, and we did it all on a cell phone. Weeks later, we were shocked to find out that we had been selected as a finalist, but the winner would be determined by public votes. We researched our competition, and we knew we would never win. One of the finalists included a multi-million-dollar organization with supporters near and far. We gave it our best shot. After weeks of voting, we found out we were in the top 2 finalists. We told ourselves it was such an honor to get this far, and we knew it would end here. One of our veterans, Yakov, his partner Jackie, and his service dog Tucker represented us at the final ceremony in New York. Yakov called me, and he had great concerns about giving an acceptance speech. I assured him, don't even worry about it, no speech is going to be necessary. There is no way we are going to win. And then we got the call from Yakov saying, we won. And Yakov did a beautiful job. Yakov did a beautiful job with an unrehearsed speech that brought the room to tears. Patriot Service Dogs is now the proud owner of a Land Rover Defender 130. Crazy ideas do sometimes come true. The first day, we had someone pull along. We were very grateful that we had veterans come to help us shoot that video. It was wonderful always to see our past veterans. So it was incredible. Our community was able to come together and win the Defender. Soon we are going to be asking you to join us again. No, not for another Defender. We're not that greedy. But Give for Marion is a community-wide fundraising event for local nonprofits, a 36-hour push to help small organizations reach their funding goals. Last year, we raised one service dog sponsorship, and I'm happy to announce the funds the community raised are now supporting Willa. Willa is named after Tuscaloosa Park in downtown Ocala in honor of her local roots. We just know she's going to make this community proud. While a sponsorship helps us cover the core training, as you all know now, it takes more than that to bring a dog from puppyhood to a professional service dog. This September, we are going to challenge ourselves to support a service dog, not just through the core training, but from the purchase of an 8-week-old puppy to the placement of a veteran. During Give for Marion, there are many opportunities to have your donation doubled or even tripled. We're looking for Patriot Service Dog supporters both inside and outside of Marion County to help organize donations. You could have some fun, set up a donation party, and make sure that the donations are matched. Businesses can help spread the word and contribute. We are hoping with all these people here tonight, you will be ready to show your support of Patriot Service Dogs. Give for Marion is September 17th and 18th, but we need to start organizing now. If you want to join our team, get in contact with one of us through email and we will get back to you. So, hold on. As you've probably noticed, there's a bit of movement now in the aisles. Tonight we have walked through the history of Patriot Service Dogs, and we've now arrived at the present, the class of 2024. One tradition that has remained constant from our first graduation is the ceremonial leash handover. In this tradition, one person significant to each of the dogs in training will pass the leash to the veteran, singling a new beginning for the dog and for the veteran alike. We're going to ask you to join us in welcoming the newest PSD teams, but we're going to ask that you hold your applause. With all these dogs here, we're going to need you to just clap at the end, okay? We'll let you know. So we're going to safely get our dogs and our veterans up here. And our first team tonight is Alex Silva and Josie. Alex is a Marine veteran from Miami. And Josie is sponsored by Mary Minor Brown from Jacaranda Island neighborhood. If you could just come stand right over here. Perfect. Oh, perfect. The leash handover is being done by Sarah and her husband, Mark. But Mark is in the booth running the AV, so Sarah's going to do the honors. They were Josie's puppy raiser for nearly a year, and they, this summer, helped raise Magic. So Sarah? No? Okay. We're going to get there. Okay, perfect, perfect. This is always such a special moment when we've got the veterans and they have trained with their dogs. This is a ceremonial leash handover, but really they've had the dogs for a bit of time. And so this is the time where we hand them back the dog, but many of them have been nervous about how long were they going to be without their dog. So it's just been this little bit of time, and then they're reunited with their dog. I just saw Sarah. Yep, come on up. So this is Josie. And we knew she had found the right placement when we were doing training, and their whole front of their house had "Welcome Josie" signs all over it. We thought, yep, this is going to work really well. Alex loves Josie a lot. That's perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, I got carried away.
Yes. Yes, sorry. Alex just had an accident this week. Our next team, you can go, don't go that way, you'll fall. Go this way. Go that way. Yep. Our next team just finished training weeks ago. Chrissy Harris and Winnie. Chrissy is an Army veteran, and Winnie is sponsored by Josie Butson, who has been closely following Winnie's journey. The leash handover is being done by Heather Keatley and Liam. So, you guys want to come up? Heather was a wolf participant and has continued to do such great work for Patriot Service Dog. You did that far better than I did. She makes us proud each and every day with her success and her dedication. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Liam. You did great. Next up is Eric Weaver and his dog, Gent. Eric is an Army veteran coming to us from Boca Raton. His dog, Gent, was one of 2 dogs sponsored by Helen McEnvoy and Quilligence in Winter Park. The leash handover is being done by Officer Webb. She's our program coordinator from Lowell Correctional Institute. There is no end to her commitment to the dogs and the program alike, and she has always been one of Gent's favorite people. So let's see how he acts. Okay, no problem. We were nervous about getting the dogs past each other on the stairs. It's a small set of stairs. You see him? There he goes. Look, he acted like such a grown-up. Thank you, Officer Webb. Thank you. It takes someone special to control Jem sometimes. Jem has a way of his own. Danny Beach is another Army veteran, and he is partnered with Nashville, or as she's better known, Nash, or even Nash Potato. Nash is the most recent dog sponsored by Old Town Trolley. They have been longtime supporters, and one of our previous graduates is here supporting Danny and Nash tonight. Augie is also sponsored by them. The leash handover is being done by Kiki and Nick, or maybe just Kiki. This couple brought Nash out of her shell. She was really, really shy, and they gave her the time and the confidence so that she could place and be here tonight. We really owe them a great thanks. They treated her like she needed to be treated. She's very, very sweet. She has the perfect match with Danny. And we knew he loved her immediately. And she's wearing a bandana that says Nash Potato. So, it's a done deal. Thank you, guys. She has always been such a wiggle butt. Tim Vieira, a veteran of the Air Force, is joining us from Fort Walton Beach, and his dog is Shannon. Shannon is sponsored by the Ocala Forest Eagles. They sell candy bars and lunches, and they have consistently raised the funds to sponsor our dogs. The leash handover is done by Marcy and Steve. They signed up to work with Shannon for the summer and ended up keeping her till advanced training till she left with Tim. Once again, they participated in our summer program with their puppy, Rhea. Yep. Hey, babe. Shannon's feeling full of herself tonight. Thank you guys so much. Jack DeFreitas and his dog Bailey will be our final graduate. Jack is a Marine Corps veteran who comes to us from the Space Coast. Bailey is named in honor of Army Sergeant John Bailey. who battled the effects of PTSD and left this world far too soon. He reminds us daily why we do this. The leash handover is being done by Jeff Fagan, who is a friend of the Bailey family. He's stepping in for Sergeant Bailey's father, Matt, who couldn't be here himself. He's from Hawaii. Matt has often said how having John's name go on to help someone else has brought a bit of peace to his family. You're good. Now would be an appropriate time to clap. Okay.
I don't know that I've got much of a speech here. I've been asked to thank the sponsors. And on behalf of all the veterans here, I'm going to read you three things. I'm going to read you the veteran's name. I'm going to tell you the dog that they were paired with and who sponsored it. What I would like to say to you, though, is as I read these triads, please keep in mind that you're hearing two stories. The first story is going to be the veteran story, and it's going to be a story of combat. And it transitions very nicely into what I believe is a love story, the story of the Patriot Service Dogs. So, Alex just received Josie, sponsored by the Brown family. Chrissy received Winnie, sponsored by Josie Budson. Eric was paired with Gent from Quill Intelligence. Danny was paired with Nash, and he was sponsored by Old Town Trolley Tours. Tim paired up with Shannon, and they were sponsored by the Ocala Forest Eagles, People Helping People. And I was blessed with Bailey. Bailey was sponsored by the Shamrock Animal Hospital. And I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you that the shamrock is a sacred plant to the Celts, and it has many meanings because of those three leaves. In Christianity, it's a triad, for example. In contemporary parlance, the three leaves symbolize faith, hope, and love. And I would suggest to you that if you have the time and if you find yourselves running short on any one of those things, please stop by Shamrock Animal Hospital, where they abide in abundance. Thank you very much. Someone else will follow me.
Okay, we're going to try the video one more time, and I want you all to think positive thoughts, and we're going to make it work, okay? So, Victoria, can we go run the video one more time?
You would process them a little bit, and then you would rotate back home. You stick it in a box, and you never think about it.
It's been an outstanding evening, and thank you so much for being a part of it. I'm going to close this with a few comments as we wrap things up. On April 18th, 2013, the final reunion of the Doolittle Raiders was held in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. The Doolittle Raiders are named for their leader. At that time, Lieutenant Colonel Jimmy Doolittle represented a group of 80 Army Air Corps airmen who took off on what was widely considered a suicide mission on April 18th, 1942. Following the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, the United States was reeling from defeat after defeat in the Pacific Theater. For morale, much more than for strategic military value, the U.S. needed a win. A ludicrous plan was hatched to position 16 B-25 bombers on an aircraft carrier and launch a bombing attack on Japan's capital, Tokyo. The planes had never operated off of an aircraft carrier, and the pilots had never flown off of this platform. If the plan went off perfectly, the planes would fly from the carrier to their intended target, then have just enough fuel to make it into China where they would have to crash land. That was the plan. Despite incredible obstacles, the mission was completed and the United States struck a blow inside the nation of Japan, which provided a much-needed infusion of morale and resolve. 61 of the airmen survived the war and met at a reunion for Jimmy Doolittle's birthday in 1946. The next reunion was not held until 1959, and while the lives of the men had changed with the addition of families and new careers, nothing came close to resembling their brotherhood, and the reunion became an annual event after that. The city of Tucson, Arizona hosted the 1959 reunion and presented the group an 1896 bottle of cognac representing Doolittle's birth year. Each year, the Raiders would meet and raise a toast to those Raiders who were no longer with them. But they decided to wait and not open the cognac until only 2 Raiders survived. In 2013, with their health failing, only 4 Raiders were still alive, and they decided to go ahead and open the cognac and raise a last toast to their comrades and commemorate the final Doolittle reunion. Reunions serve as a recognition of the connections that intersect us. They're family connections like mother and brother and uncle and cousin. They're event connections like maid of honor and best man. They're club connections like drum major and head cheerleader and class president. Fans are bound by their sports teams. Taylor Swift has her Swifties, and Rihanna has her Navy, and Britney Spears has her Army. But there's something deeper than this amalgamation of people who simply stand in the same space or like the same music or have the same last name. Inside each crisscross of shared life chapters, a more select fraternity. The military community stands unique in this fellowship. We're associated by squadrons and companies and battalions. We're further aligned by specialty codes or what our jobs are. And these links are strong, but there's a more exclusive, even intimate nucleus. Our closest alliances are called names like battle buddy and wingman or shipmate, teammate. These relationships are like none other. They're formed under the kind of pressure that creates a diamond or the kind of heat that is used to purify gold, and that creates an unbreakable bond. Patriot Service Dogs, like the military, shares this kind of exclusive association. Like other connections, we have our own language. It's sometimes characterized by jokes that only a few people understand, like this. When people ask if they can pet your dog, and you answer by saying there's a reading test first. I knew we would get there. Sometimes communication is a gesture which is more than 1,000 words, like this gesture, which means I forgot the poop bag. There are acronyms and euphemisms and nicknames and slang that create a language that only the Corps knows, but the best United Nations interpreters could never decipher. Sit is sit, and down is down, but sit down is nothing. Tug is not pull, up is not on, down is not off. We are as varied as the created world we inhabit, differing in age and gender and ethnicity and socioeconomic resources, height, weight, hair color, and hair quantity. Yet, so how in the world does this union work? How do we, despite all of this diversity, maintain our connection? It's our fervent passion and commitment under the banner of Patriot Service Dogs to bring honor, hope, and healing to everyone who is part of this community. It is looking with hopeful anticipation into the eyes of a service dog who looks back at you communicating in an unexplainable way that they've got your back, they've got your front, they've got your side, and they've got your heel. The uniqueness that is Patriot Service Dogs has 3 distinct yet connected elements that solidifies this one-of-a-kind link. The first being led by compassion and character. In 2009, Julie Sanderson and Susan Bolton brought their enormous skills and determination to an idea. While they had experience in the service dog arena, they desired to provide unparalleled excellence, a personalized training and matching experience with a unique client, military veterans. They launched Patriot Service Dogs with grit, not that grit, resolve, a modest bank account, a superpower that could not and would not be defeated, hearts of compassion and selflessness. True compassion means not only feeling another's pain, but also being moved to help relieve it. For Julie, compassion doesn't start and end with an action. It's part of her character. And her character to continue to affect others just a couple of years later with the launch of the Women Offering Obedience and Friendship Program, or commonly referred to as the WOLF program. In a partnership with Lowell Correctional Facility, Patriot Service Dogs provided training to select incarcerated women who in turn multiplied PSD's ability to provide excellence and the personalization desired. The compassion and selflessness these women continue to display as they participate in all aspects of service dog training, from puppyhood to advanced training with veterans, is nothing short of remarkable. In completing a full circle of graciousness, PSD developed a dynamic educational and life coaching program for those one-of-a-kind, precious trainers. Compassion and selflessness are a character. They're not an activity. They are a journey more than a destination. To Julie and the Wolf Women, thank you for allowing us to join you on the journey. A mark of a great organization is a willingness to give away leadership and responsibility. PSD models this by inviting a community to join them, which is the second element of our alliance. The community is as varied as the places that we live and the gifts that we're blessed to steward. It includes neighbors in a community who combine their financial resources to support Patriot Service Dogs. It's a foundation that wants to change the places we live through fighting for health, battling hunger, and supporting heroes. Even a business who is an open source intelligence consultancy has a place at the table. Some members of the community bring technical expertise. You've heard about Shamrock Animal Hospital and Dr. Raquel Fagan, and they exemplify this portion of our tribe. They have professional and academic prowess that are invaluable to the Patriot Service Dogs mission. From a first vaccination to ongoing medical care to emergency action, Shamrock's staff supports PSD at every juncture. Their gift of attending to the health and wellness of the service dog focuses on the patient, but the effect transcends to all of us. Some of PSD's community make an impact through their donation of financial resources, services, and equipment. PSD is a force that runs on the generosity of many, and our sponsors and benefactors provide the precious fuel and sometimes the actual fuel for the advancement and impact that is desired. Your dollars allow PSD to fund a full circle of life, from picking up a service dog in Iowa to transporting it back to Florida. It supports the interview, vetting, and matching process of a veteran, and it provides for the absolutely vital ongoing training for our veteran and dog teams. Your dollars allow PSD to provide an initial equipment issue that help us start well. Each donation is a reflection of your commitment to bring impact and change to our world. Thank you. Some of our community, yes, thank you. Some of our community bring unique talent, others offer their treasure. Our puppy raisers and summer school volunteers offer these gifts with a special quality sprinkled on top. I've heard it said that the most important things in real estate are location, location, and location. For our puppy raisers and summer school team, you bring to our community patience, patience, and patience. Your relentless efforts to assimilate training into every aspect, from our personal lives to our commercial endeavors, helps us transition and is fantastic. Each time we easily load a service dog in a vehicle, there are literally hundreds of practice hours behind that, facilitated by you. When we traverse a grocery store, maneuver past other shoppers, or go into a restaurant, you were the Christopher Columbus who navigated to this new world. You made a road where one did not exist, and we reap the crops that you sowed. There's one unique member of the community that sits in a category all her own. None of us will ever fully comprehend her gift. It's heart, it's compassion, and it's selflessness. She's a linchpin. You might not notice a linchpin, but when it breaks, you darn well know it because the wheels come off. Officer Webb is just such a linchpin. For many of us, we might only encounter her once or twice in our lives, yet her dedicated service is often unseen, but is forever felt. PSD's needed access to Lowell Correctional and the Women of the Wolf program are all facilitated by Officer Webb. Veterans Warrior Week training and our access to receive valuable instruction from the Wolf Women is another example of Officer Webb's work on our behalf. Everywhere we go, our teams of veterans and dogs carry some of Officer Webb's character, and we are the better for it. We strive to honor her by being more like her. Thank you. The last element of this triune bond are the military veterans and their families. All of the resources of time and money and compassion are presented to us as a gift, an undeserved gift. But in order to receive a gift, the veterans must present their own precious offering. We must contribute courage and vulnerability. For military veterans, being courageous is like breathing. Courage is the first quality of a warrior. Displaying physical, intellectual, moral, and social courage are parts of our character that exude like sweat on an August day in Florida. Courageous acts are sometimes recognized by the awarding of a medal or recognition by a citation, or maybe just a couple of people observe this occurrence. Courage is selfless. Courage is humble. Courage is kind and resilient. Courage is steadfast. Courage loves. Courage stands against hate. I'm humbled to stand in the midst of men and women who sacrificed themselves for me. Yet the most courageous thing you've ever done wasn't charging a hill or standing up to injustice or fighting for survival. Your bravery became distinctive the moment you were vulnerable enough to say, I need help. Asking for help is not surrender. Asking for help is acknowledging that we are designed and need community. It takes courage to admit and accept that the things we experience have scarred our souls, and we need help in caring for the wound. It takes courage to love yourself, your family, and your community enough to solicit their assistance. Arrogance whispers that you're fine and you don't need help. Courage addresses the face of fear and goes anyway. As one cowboy said, courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. In the book, The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, the boy asks the horse, what's the bravest thing you ever said? The horse replies, help. To my fellow veterans, I say thank you for presenting the most unique and humbling gift, courage wrapped in vulnerability. My greatest hope is that our actions are contagious, and other brave men and women will take a stand, and their spines will be stiffened to ask for help. It took Julie Sanderson, PSD, and the Women's of the Wolf program's compassion to launch and sustain an organization focused on selflessness and sustained by character. It has required the fuel of community to bring every facet of resource to bear in order to advance PSD's mission. The final element of this recipe of success is added when military veterans are willing to be courageous enough to ask for help. This is how 15 years of outstanding service was birthed, maintained, and will continue. In our next season, it will require the attributes of compassion, community, and courage to conquer the challenge of finding the next veteran, the next sponsor, the next volunteer, the next puppy, so that we can continue to change the lives of one person, one family, and one community, one story at a time. When I came for Warrior Week with my wife, Jenna Beth, I learned that Julie enjoys musicals. My wife and I are similarly inclined, and we've swapped stories about our favorite shows. One of our all-time favorites is the musical Wicked. Near the end of the show, the signature song For Good is performed by the leading characters Glinda and Elphaba. I'd like to quote a verse from this song as I close. It well may be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I've learned from you. You will be with me like a handprint on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea, like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. And so I have. Thank you.
That was perfect. Thank you. Obviously, Bear has heard this a few times because it got near the end and she stood up to come out here. So I think she knows it. So this has been an incredible evening. I can't thank you all enough for joining us. Tonight was made possible by our event sponsors, Butcher's Natural, Jacaranda Island Neighborhood, Shamrock Animal Hospital, Chariot Eagle, and Ace Hardware of Wildwood. And we want to thank all of our speakers and our volunteers. As you leave the theater, please take a moment to see and maybe even purchase one of our new shirts and check for the winners of the silent auction. We ask that you be careful driving home, and I would like nothing more than for us to meet again in 15 years and see the new crop of dogs and the new crop of veterans, but we need your help to do that. So please support Patriot Service Dogs, and thank you all so much for making this evening special. Thank you.